I'm back. So soon, you may ask? Yes, indeed. You are listening to Bingo Choom and K-pop tunes, and this is the third episode of Choom and Chill. So thank you for listening to this episode, and thank you for listening to all episodes thus far. I just want to preface this by saying I kind of finished a recently airing series that I'd been watching. And so that kind of leads into the details of today's episodes. And my second preface of the preface for the episode is I just want everyone to know that I am not a quitter. I promise you, I'm not a quitter. I am usually not the type to just drop something, especially when it comes to media, whether it be video games or TV shows or movies. I am the type of person that once I'm committed, I'm committed. Even if I absolutely start hating something or just hate it from the start, if I get far enough, I'm the person that once I start it, I have to finish it. I'm also the type of person that's not deterred by spoilers. Spoilers usually make me wonder, like, why did it end up this way? I need to know more, and kind of gives me the urge to want to explore what happened. So, that being said, the fact that I would ever give up on a K drama and not complete it says an awful lot about me personally. There had to be some sort of push or breaking point. And breaking point there was. So today's episode is essentially me just ranting because I have a very short list of dramas that I've ever quit watching. When I say short list, it's like 5. And 2 of them were really old, and going back, I can't even remember why I stopped watching them, but 3 of them are on this list, and 3 of them we're going to talk about today. So this episode is basically just focused on K-dramas I gave up on because they weren't satisfying. Now, when I say satisfying doesn't necessarily mean that the ending of the drama wasn't satisfying, although it could be that, but it could also pertain to the overall experience and the character development or the lack thereof, and even the development that then turns into regression. But there was some sort of, like I said, breaking point encompassing these factors that just made me become unsatisfied and quit the drama. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. We're just going to jump right into this episode because I feel like I might ramble a lot just with how emotionally involved and then emotionally draining some of these dramas became. But as I said, I just finished watching a currently airing drama, and maybe you can guess it, but first drama on this list of dramas that I quit watching is 2521. So like I said, I finished it, but I didn't finish it. I finished it to the point where I got to the last 3 episodes. I saw spoilers for the last episode, and I just decided that was not for me. So 2521 is a 2022 produced coming of age drama that, just as I said, recently finished and it aired on TVN and Netflix. The drama stars Kim Tae-ri, Bona from WJSN, and Nam Joo-hyuk, and centers around these 3 plus 2 others, so 5 characters and their lives from 1998 to the present day 2021. Just as they live through different national and international events and their lives and more. So Kim Tae-ri's character, the female lead, Na-hiro, is a fencer who seems to basically have no one backing her up, who then meets the young Baki Jin, Nam Joo-hyuk's character, whose family was affected by the East Asian financial crisis. And as she tries to achieve her big dreams without support, and he tries to basically rebuild his life from the ground up, the two become a support system for each other. And as Yijin goes through an attempt of finding jobs after having lived as a chaebol, and then the financial crisis affecting his family, and as Hiro takes on the nation basically with her fencing and goes against her former idol turned rival, later turned friend, national team fencer Ko Yurim, It just follows their relationship and the situations and all the building of that. So, quick breakdown for those who have no intentions of watching it. The story basically starts with the present day Hiro's daughter finding her old diary after quitting ballet and running away from home because she thinks her mom doesn't really understand where she's coming from. But funnily enough, her mom kind of went through a lot of the same stuff growing up. And she and the viewers relive her mother's life through her diary journals and the entries with cuts to present day reactions from Hiro herself, her daughter Min-chae, and Hiro's mom. And that just happens throughout the series. I really liked the drama because it was realistic. It depicted real life problems and real life solutions in a time that was familiar to the viewing audience, or at least familiar to me, being born in 1993. Some of the things that happened in the drama, such as little moments, for example, where like cell phones weren't a thing and then they later became a thing, and you still used pagers, and news reporters had to rush to nearby landlines to like deliver the news because cell phones weren't reliable. It was just interesting to relive the experience of these things because they're things that I remember, but they also feel like a faraway fever dream that I don't remember at the same time. And then on top of that, there were events in the drama that were real life events that unfolded and posed some familiarity. So the World Trade Center attack popped up at one point, and while the Asian financial crisis wasn't something that I was familiar with, it is something that like growing up you would hear of because there was obviously financial things going on in the United States at some points too. So anyway, I just thought that the events unfolding, tying it into real life, and then the way that the characters and their relationships were portrayed was just done really well. And it was a real slow burn between Hiro and Yijin, and it just really led from like strangers to supporters, like they supported each other, to friends, to lovers, and you were able to watch their relationship unfold before your eyes in a very realistic manner despite some of the time skips. But they did the time skips really neatly and seamlessly. Like they would always do a time skip by skipping to the future and then having current day Hiro or her daughter do something and then going back to the past to another diary entry. So it was very interesting in that aspect. Now, that all being said, all of the praise that I just gave, you're probably wondering the reason I dropped the drama. Well, do I have an answer for you? It's because present day Hiro doesn't seem happy in her life and doesn't seem content with the ending that she chose herself. While in the drama, we didn't get to see all of the bad of their relationships and we only got to see snippets where Hiro suffered from her loneliness and Yijin suffers from his PTSD with the 9/11 attacks as a rookie reporter, which, by the way, side note, why did they send a rookie reporter to New York City? I just thought it was strange how their entire relationship was built on unwavering trust and support in one another, even with distances and even with times that they wouldn't see one another. And I understand, being in a relationship myself, that when you start dating, there's a little more expectation to be there and to be more present in each other's lives, especially when it comes to like support and being like a backbone for each other. But for two people who went blindly into a friendship like this with one another and built their relationship off of just the support and what they did and how they treated each other, it seemed extremely out of character to me that Hiro would cut off her relationship with Yijin the way she did after one fight. Like the one fight that we got to see. And not only that, it wasn't even mutual. Yujin was suffering and didn't want to let her go, and who knows if she even married or he even married in the future like she did. Although I recently saw on Twitter today that there were theories that he didn't, because in the extra clip at the end of the episode, nobody saw a ring on his finger, which Hiro doesn't even wear a wedding ring on her finger in present day. And the thing is, their relationship ended with so much anger and hurt, and we didn't get to see it, so it didn't make it believable at all based on the past experiences we did get to witness between the two of them. And the worst part was knowing that Yijin didn't want to end it and he was willing to try and fix it, or at least he seemed willing to try and fix it once he realized what had gone wrong. But Hiro cut it off the way she did after that one single fight, and then proceeded to block out the memories for herself, for example, like the beach trip. And on Twitter, I was theorizing that maybe she had had like a sports related injury that blocked that memory out, but it was just because the pain was so great, and we see her make herself sick essentially and hospitalize herself because she's so upset about this breakup. And she did a lot of these things as like coping mechanisms to save herself from more hurt, but then knowing she did all of that and it didn't even help in the future, and that the future her isn't even happy with this faceless, nameless husband of hers. She doesn't wear a wedding ring, like I said. Her daughter, too, Minche, discovers at the end of her diary that she wishes she hadn't ended things so badly, and that they both regret all the anger and hurt it ended on. And maybe that can be taken as like they regret the way they ended the breakup more so than they're unhappy overall with their life. But for some reason, I feel like it's an overall they're unhappy with their life. Well, maybe not Yijin, but Hito for sure. Just with the way she talked to her daughter and some of the experiences she shared verbally with her daughter, and to see and hear some of the things that she said, and how she seems really lonely still and wistful. Like, if the writers had made the viewers or me believe that she was happy in the current day, then I probably could have accepted this ending, because all while I was watching it, I just had this sinking feeling that they weren't going to end up together as Endgame. But the writers basically gave us this entire story. They told their entire story, and then at the end, and with the way they ended it, they basically just told us that it's not even worth putting in the effort to find a love like this, that's this deep or this strong, or to even have your dreams, because Hiro wasn't even happy with her love life or her job after she quit fencing. And the reason she quit fencing on top of it, they basically were just like, here's this great story for you, but by the way, you're not going to be satisfied at the end of your life, so maybe don't even try and strive for happiness. And so just overall, I can't accept this ending. Like, I can't. I don't know what else to say. I just cannot accept this ending. Okay, and so the second drama on this list, I have nothing else to add to that last drama, but if you have any theories or anything you want to add about any of it, feel free to leave comments and reviews and talk to us on Twitter. But the second drama on this list is True Beauty. So, released in 2020, True Beauty is a K-drama based off a webtoon of the same name that some of you are probably familiar with. It centers around the life of Lim Joo-kyung, a high school student who has had a complex about her appearance since she was little, after being perceived as ugly and being bullied. But one day, Joo-kyung starts practicing with makeup to hide her bare face, and after becoming quote-unquote pretty, she starts to make friends, and she starts to gain self-confidence, and she becomes with two former best friends, Lee Soo-ho and Han Seo-jun. So True Beauty is your typical slice of life romance comedy following high school students. It's funny, it's cute, it's embarrassing. I have for some time enjoyed the webtoon, though I've taken a break since the web drama aired, just because the way the storyline started to go. Joo-kyung felt like all her character development just kind of regressed and stopped. So I'm taking a break from the webtoon for now, but I still also really love the webtoon. And for the most part, I really enjoyed the drama until the last episode. I made it all the way to the last episode, which I did better than I did with 2521, but I still gave up at the last episode. And so while I understand that a drama and a webtoon, and I feel this way about like books and movies and American media, they should each have their own creative freedom, and they should each be viewed as their own creative works, essentially, on their own, and appreciated for what they are, because I'm not one to complain like about a piece of work following its parent work to 100% perfection. Like, there's a different writer for these things, and there's a different visualization method of taking all of the details from a book or a webtoon and putting it into a screen with limited amount of time. I was just, though, overall frustrated with the drama because of the ending. So this is one that I just was unsatisfied with the ending, and so I quit. So the drama follows Joo-kyung's relationships she builds, as she also builds her self-confidence moving through high school. And the two who support her the most, actually, are the two who end up seeing her bare face the most, Lee Soo-ho and Han Seo-jun. And despite being boys, the two of them are the first to show signs of not caring what Joo-kyung looks like without makeup. And over time, you kind of see their relationships build in different manners due to what exposure they have with her, and what like bonding methods and situations they're thrown in with each other. And personally, they're just reached a point in the drama where I felt, this is going to be such an unpopular opinion, I felt that Lee Soo-ho, who was played by Cha Eun-woo from Astro was just getting the good ending because he was the more popular actor and more well-known actor, and everybody loves Cha Eun-woo. But for me, that was very boring because he had just previously starred in a drama called My Idea's Gangnam Beauty, and he literally played the same exact character. There were some personality differences, but not much. And so I was just very bored with that casting and that storyline from the start. And to me, that felt unfair because he had personally, another unpopular opinion, he had some toxic traits throughout the drama, like getting jealous when she hung out with Soljun, pulling her away from him and being really forceful and possessive and different things like that. And some of them were more subtle than those examples, but that example was something that happened in the drama. And Sojun, on the other hand, was supportive of her, didn't care that she was friends with Suho, and rather than just being someone who was a pretty face and seemed perfect and had some bad traits for a significant other, in my opinion, and was only friends with her at certain moments, like they weren't really friends at school sometimes at the start, and that made her uncomfortable, and like he made her uncomfortable sometimes. Not Sojun, Suho, by the way. Sorry, I should have clarified that. I just there was such a stark contrast between the two of them. And like I said, I am sure that was an unpopular opinion, and I'm sure that there are others out there that'll disagree with me, but this is how I felt. I felt that Sojun and Jukyung's relationship was way more authentic, and it was built off of jokes and teasing and laughter and them being comfortable with each other. Like, she was way more comfortable with Sojun after the first initial interaction of the stolen motorcycle helmet, before Sojun started to gain feelings for her, essentially. They felt like a pair that complemented each other well, whereas her and Suho just felt awkward, and he felt possessive, and she felt like she was uncomfortable, or I felt like she was uncomfortable around them, and there was a real kind of lack of communication. And then there was also the jealousy, and I hate dramas where the boys are like jealous of others. It just gets boring. It's such a reused trope that it's just boring and bad. So that's the reason I ultimately dropped the drama. It, to me, didn't have an ending that was satisfying based on the witness character development within the series, and I felt it was unfair for Soljun to be a support and a friend who stayed by Jukyung's side for such a long time, and for Suho to just leave, and because he was back, just everything in the world was right. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me when you had the perfect boy next to you the entire time, who was supportive and a friend before anything else and didn't pressure you to reciprocate his feelings. Like, call it the most major case of second lead syndrome I've ever had, because it was, but the ending was so dissatisfying that it just made me sick to witness. And him crying when I found out that he was crying, I was like, nope, I'm not watching the last episode. We're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. So that one was possibly filled with a lot of unpopular opinions. I feel like everybody likely loved that last drama, and Cha Woo is very popular, so I feel like everybody likely loved him, and everybody loves Suho's character. So that one's probably that last drama. If you're listening to this, my opinions in that are probably not going to be perceived very well. And the last and third drama on this list is Love Alarm. So, Love Alarm is a 2019 romance drama based on another webtoon of the same name, starring Kim So Hyun, Song Kang, and Jung Garam. The plot centers around the love triangle of these three characters and the story of a technology in the form of an app that enables the users that use the users that use it. Yes, to discover love, basically setting off an alarm whenever someone who likes them enters a 10-meter radius of where they're standing. So you have to have like the app open and be actively using it. So I felt that the concept was very advanced, and so that's what originally drew me to this drama and caught my interest and made me want to watch it. There were many classic romantic cliches and such through the drama that sometimes made it kind of cringeworthy, but not in a silly, like, goofy secondhand embarrassment way, but more of a that would never happen in real life sort of way. And so it was just like not believable, but it was still enjoyable. Like, I really did like the drama for the most part until it got towards the end. Also, this is the first drama that Netflix has ever picked up for their K-drama like series within all of everything that encompasses K-dramas on their platform. And it's also the drama that could be argued that launched Song Kang into popularity, and rightfully so, because I believe even with all of the romantic cliches, his character was that standard, typical brooding chaebol type who had a soft side to him that you kind of ultimately wanted to fall for, and you did. And I know the public did because I know he was very popular. And so, as I mentioned before, I know that there should always be creative freedom between two works, such as a webtoon and a K-drama, and a webtoon to K-drama adaptation or a book to a movie adaptation. And I knew Love Alarm, the webtoon, ended a certain way. Like, I knew that it had a certain ending. I was very familiar with it. I hadn't read it because I wasn't super fan of the art style, but I was familiar with the storyline and the way that it went and the way that it ended. But I felt that the drama itself was written in such a way that the webtoon was obvious about the direction it was going, where the drama didn't portray that as well. So they went into a complete opposite direction that had you thinking the male lead wasn't the actual male lead and the second lead was the real male lead, first lead. And they spent the entire story doing that until they got to the ending and just kind of threw a curveball and a wrench and everything. And then they got to season 2 and they hinted at what we all thought was going to be true wouldn't be the case. And so it was going to go the way the webtoon did. So I don't know if me going over all of that really hinted at this, but I actually didn't quit this drama in the sense that I quit the other dramas that I mentioned. I finished the entirety of this first season for Love Alarm, but I left it at that. I left it open-ended with the meeting between our beloved love triangle. I ended it there, never to be picked up again. Nope. The second season doesn't exist. I basically refused to watch the second season because of the way it suddenly did an abrupt 360-degree turn to follow the webtoon storyline. In my opinion, what was a 360-degree turn? I just ended it there. After I saw articles about it being released and what was going to happen, I was just like, doesn't exist. Leaving my brain. I'm just going to leave it as a one season thing and appreciate it for what it was, and I don't need to know how it ends. I'll just make up my own ending for these characters. Okay, so why did I drop it then, you might ask, if I finished the whole entire first season? Well, I wouldn't have minded if it followed the webtoon storyline at all. If not for the way certain things were portrayed in the drama, I wouldn't have minded it. Similar to the first mentioned drama 2521, the main characters ended things on a very bad note with like zero deeper communication, and it frustrated the hell out of me. The fact that Sohyun's character Jojo literally just ran from all of her problems and disappeared from Kong's character Sono's life was just so unsatisfying to me. Like it was so frustrating. It made me mad and it just didn't make any sense. I have no other words for it. And especially knowing that despite Jojo going on to have a relationship with his best friend, the two clearly have lingering feelings for each other. Maybe they're not romantic anymore, like, okay, but it still wasn't satisfying to watch it. Especially since Garam's character, Hayoung, he was such a background character, and which is why I was not satisfied and why I didn't watch the second season, to know that she suddenly had a love story with him. He was such a background character for the longest time. He had absolutely no presence throughout the show. He did nothing that caught my attention, and not even just like he needed to be astounding. He just did nothing to draw my attention to him. He was boring. He was bland. He was kind of stalkerish, maybe not to the actual full-on stalker, but he admired from the distance and never once stepped out of his shell to really make himself known or liked or do anything. And not even on like a romantic level, but even just as a friend. And I realized that he was friends with the chaebol, and that's probably really difficult because he was not rich and his friend was rich. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where it's like he allowed himself to be pushed to the back burner so many times and had no backbone. And I didn't like that. And to find out that he's just suddenly gonna finally start doing that in the second season was just out of character to me, and like obviously unsatisfying, as I said, because it felt like some sort of last ditch attempt to accomplish something that the writers wanted, or accomplish following the webtoon because of who knows what reason, like maybe they had to follow the storyline. I don't know. But I do know, according to Twitter and a lot of social media, the majority of the viewers were Team Sunno. And so I don't feel bad quitting the drama and not watching the second season, because I know a lot of people were also on the same team as me and rooting for the same way. But I just thought Gaihyun was a very boring guy, and that just made it hard to like Young. I just realized I said I called him Hyun. Anyway, he was just really boring, and it made him hard to like, and it made him hard to support him in a relationship with JoJo because he just seemed boring. Okay, so that was this episode. Like I said, I'm not a quitter, but these are 3 of the dramas that I have quit in my time, my very short 28 years of life. And that's not even how long I've been watching K dramas, so that number is totally wrong. But I can't bring myself. Maybe someday I'll watch the second season of Love Alarm. I'll likely finish 25-21 after I finish recording this episode, give it a few weeks for everything to die down, and I'll like steel myself to do it. Probably never going back to True Beauty, because that one I don't want to deal with the heartbreak of that. But I realized that this episode was probably filled with a lot of unpopular opinions, just because of, one, the dramas I chose, and also, two, because of the opinions that I gave. I feel as though they were very strong concerning certain things and certain characters. That being said, though, as long as you're nice about it, I would love to hear your opinion on Twitter about what you thought about some of these dramas. If you had specific theories, specific feelings, and emotions that were elicited from watching them, did you feel as much anger and frustration as I did in certain cases? Share your thoughts, but of course, like I said, be nice. One of mine and Bingu's pet peeves and rules is you have to be nice. Share your opinion nicely with us. But definitely give feedback on this episode. Definitely give feedback of my opinions on the dramas. It would be much appreciated. Plus, I would love to discuss some of these and hear what people think. But otherwise, that was another episode of Bingo Choom and K-pop tunes mini series, Choom and Chill, with me, Choom, Reina. I never introduced myself at the start of the episode. Oops. And so, as always, we ask you to like, subscribe, comment, leave feedback, interact with us on our social medias at Bingu and Choom. And I will continue watching currently airing dramas and maybe come out with another episode soon. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day, night, morning, whatever you want. Just be awesome. Bye.